You know, we probably say thank you dozens of times a day, right? But have you ever really stopped to think about what's actually going on in our brains when we truly feel grateful? Well, it turns out that feeling is one of the most powerful tools we have for making our lives better. So today, we're going to unpack the science behind it and see how it's so much more than just being polite.
But first, let's start with a puzzle we've all run into. You get that new job, you buy that new gadget, you finally achieve something you've been working towards for ages, and you feel amazing, right? You're on top of the world. But then, a few weeks, maybe even a few days later, where'd that feeling go? Poof! It just kind of vanishes. So what gives? Why is it so hard to hang on to happiness?
Well, psychologists have a great name for this. It's called the hedonic treadmill. The idea is that we humans are just fantastic at getting used to stuff. That amazing new situation quickly just becomes our new normal. And our happiness level, it just drifts right back to where it started. It's like we're running, chasing the next thing, but we're not actually getting anywhere emotionally. It's a super frustrating cycle, and it's why just chasing more is almost never the answer to lasting happiness.
Now, this is where things get really interesting. See, for most of its history, the field of psychology had this massive blind spot. It was almost entirely focused on what goes wrong with us. Anxiety, depression, trauma, all the tough stuff. It was a science built to fix problems, which makes sense, but it created this huge imbalance in what we even thought to study.
How big of an imbalance are we talking about? Brace yourself for this one. One analysis found that for every single study on the topic of gratitude, there were 246 studies on depression. Let that sink in for a second. 246 to 1. I mean, that's just wild. It tells you everything you need to know about where our focus has been.
And you know what's really nuts? This whole scientific focus is the complete opposite of how we actually live our lives. I mean, think about your own day. Studies that actually track people's feelings moment to moment show that we are over 3 times more likely to be feeling something positive than something negative. So our lives are, for the most part, filled with good things, but our science has been pretty much obsessed with the bad.
Okay, so if we're going to try to fix that imbalance, we need to be really clear about what we're even talking about. What is gratitude? I mean, really, from a scientific point of view, it's not just some vague, warm and fuzzy feeling. No, it's a very specific psychological event.
Yeah, researchers have pretty much boiled it down to 2 key ingredients. First, you just have to acknowledge that something good happened. You got some kind of benefit. Easy enough. And second, and this is the crucial part, you have to recognize that the source of that good thing came from outside of yourself. So think about it. It's the difference between saying, I'm so glad I have a coffee, and I'm so glad my friend thought to bring me a coffee. That second part, recognizing the other person, that's the magic ingredient for gratitude.
And I think this G.K. Chesterton quote just completely nails it. Happiness doubled by wonder. Yes, that's it. It's that sense of wonder, that little bit of awe at the goodness that comes into our lives from other people and the world around us. And as we're about to see, that feeling has some truly profound effects.
All right, so let's get down to it. The why. Why should we actively try to feel more grateful? Well, because the science on this is unbelievably clear. The payoff is huge. We're talking benefits for your mind, your body, and maybe most important of all, your relationships. We've all been there, right? Stuck in a vicious cycle. One negative thought just triggers another, and you just spiral downwards. Well, gratitude is like the ultimate pattern interrupter. It kicks off what researchers call an upward spiral. A single moment of gratitude literally opens up your perspective, makes you more resilient, more creative, which then makes it easier to notice more good things to be grateful for. See? It builds on itself.
And this might just be its greatest superpower. Gratitude is profoundly social. One researcher came up with this brilliant find, remind, and bind theory. Basically, expressing gratitude helps us find new relationships because it signals we're a good person to connect with. It reminds us of the awesome people we already have in our corner, and it binds us closer to them. Seriously, it acts like superglue for our social lives.
Okay, so we get it, it's good for us, but what's the actual mechanism? Like, how does a simple feeling literally rewire the way we see the world and make us stronger? Let's pop the hood and take a look.
You know the classic holiday movie, It's a Wonderful Life? Well, believe it or not, researchers have named a powerful gratitude technique after it. But instead of counting your blessings, you do the opposite. You mentally subtract one. So, try this right now. Think of a person who's had a huge positive impact on your life. Got 'em? Now, really, truly try to imagine what your life would be like if you had never, ever met them. That feeling you get?
That's the power of mental subtraction.
And that, right there, is how you get off the hedonic treadmill. That's the antidote. By forcing ourselves to realize that the best things in our lives were never a guarantee, that they could have easily not happened, we stop taking them for granted. We stop running in place and start truly appreciating what we already have.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds great, but I'm busy. Who has time for this? Well, the best part is that science has given us some incredibly simple, incredibly powerful tools that anybody can start using tonight.
This is probably the most famous exercise in all of positive psychology, and for one simple reason. It works. It's called 3 blessings or 3 good things, and it couldn't be easier. Before you go to sleep, just think of 3 things that went well today and write them down. But here's the crucial last step. For each one, just jot down a quick note about why it happened. It feels small, I know, but doing this consistently is scientifically proven to make people happier. It's like a workout for your gratitude muscle.
So let's end with this. There's a well-known concept in psychology that bad is stronger than good. You know how this feels. One single criticism stings more than 5 compliments. One bad event can overshadow a whole week of good ones. Our brains are just wired with this negativity bias. So if that's our default setting, we can't be passive. We need something to actively fight back. We need something that amplifies the good. And that is exactly what gratitude is. It's a conscious choice to turn up the volume on the good things in your life so they don't get drowned out by all the noise. So the question is, what good in your life are you going to amplify today?